Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel TDEV class. My name is Tejiri. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to set up Laravel Sanctum in version 10 and Angular in Angular version 17. In these tutorials, I'll try to make it short as much as possible by copying and pasting most of the command we'll be using in our terminal, and as well as to make it fast for you. So without much, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to head over to our Laravel application and open your code terminal, and I'll be pasting this command, which is composer require Laravel Sanctum. You hit your enter, and this shouldn't take long depending on the speed of your internet connection. As soon as you've completed that command, the next thing we'll be running is to publish our just install Laravel application package, which is PHP artisan vendor publish. Let me extend the screen so you can see it well, but though I'll be posting most of this command in the description below. So I'll press my enter and you can see it just installed. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be installing Laravel Breeze. Just in case you don't know why we're installing Laravel Breeze, is so as to help us get our application to be ready and use so that you won't have to do much when you are configuring your API application. It helps you remove the view and also configure your route. In Laravel they have different routes, so it makes your route ready, API ready, and remove the web API web route. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. But first of all, after installing Laravel Breeze, we'll be installing the Breeze in proper. So you just scroll down and you select API only. Since we just want API, I'll be setting that PHP unit as default. Once that's successful, let me show you what I'm talking about. If you look at our .env file, you see Laravel added the front end URL for us by default, which is this one I just highlighted. But of course, since our front end is running on port 4200, which is the default port Angular application run, I'll have to delete this one. So once I've deleted that, don't forget to hit your save. Now there are a few things you want to do in this .env file, which is very critical. If you fail to do this well properly, you'll be getting a lot of error, and as well your application will not run properly. So first thing I'll just copy and paste the variables, .env variables. So the first variable we're looking at here is section domain. Section domain is the root domain of your application. Section security cookie is simply telling your application, telling you that okay, you want to use HTTPS or you want to use HTTP, which is not secure. But since we're running our local host, we'll set this to false, which is to say I don't care much of if it's secure or not. But of course, if you're on live, if your application is live in production, you have to set this to true. The next thing is Sanctum stateful domain, which is set to the root domain of your application. Don't forget to add the section store, which is also the root domain, or I'll call it let me call it the root domain of your application. Don't forget to hit save and you continue. So once you are done with this configuration, you are all set to go. Next thing, we'll be heading over to our Angular application. Let me extend the screen so that you can see very well, and also let me see if I can increase the font a little bit. Okay, so first we'll be doing is I'll head over to I'll head over to my terminal, and I'll need to install I'll need to run some command here, which is I will need to generate services which our front end application will use to communicate with our back end. So I will call this service, I will name it HTTP token, right? And I'll hit enter. You see it created it, and then the next thing I will okay, before I install that, let's head over to our application and begin configuring this service. So first of all, as you may know, in Laravel 17 you don't need to import HTTP module in your root directory, because you will do that in your app config file. So first of all, let's set our HTTP variable. So say HTTP client. Once you've done that, next thing we'll be creating our function, which we get our CRSF token, right? And it's going to return from our root. It's going to hit our Laravel endpoint. So don't forget to put any here, and then you call the endpoint improper. Now, to get the endpoint you'll be using, I'll be heading over to our .env file. The app URL is stated in our .env file. You just copy your app URL and paste it here. The next thing you'll be doing is you head over to your terminal, to your Laravel directory, and then you type this command php artisan route list, so as to list all our routes in our Laravel API application. So you copy this sanctums/CSRF to cookie. Once you copy that, you paste it in here, and don't forget to remove white space, in case if there's white space you may get error. Once you've done that configuration, you are calling the endpoint. Now you head over. I'll be heading over to my app.component file, which is here. So in our app.component file, the first thing we'll be doing, I'll be implementing ng on init, why I'm doing this is because I want to call that endpoint and as well set our application cookie in our browser once the application is loaded, which is coming from our Laravel application, the back end. Note that how it works. How the cookie works is that once the cookie is expired, the browser automatically deletes the cookie for us. We don't have to do that ourselves. That is something that the browser does for us automatically. Then I'll be showing you how to configure your cookie as well, to set the time which your cookie will expire at the ending of this video. So while you're at this video, please take a moment to subscribe and hit the like button, so as to help YouTube algorithm suggest this video to other developers that may need this as well. So let's go back to our video. So before we call our just created service, I'll create a constructor which we call the service. In Angular 17, there are two methods to call a service. Either you create a constructor, or you simply inject it this way. I'll say you create a variable and you call it you can call it whatever you like, but me, I'll just say token svc, right? You can call it this way. You just call it inject, and then once you call this inject, it takes in a parameter which is going to be our HTTP token service. Once you've done that, you have full access to all our methods in our service. But I'll still okay, let me leave it at that. Another way you can do this is to set, is the normal way we all may know. So you set this and I'll still call it just not to have the same name, I'll just call it T service, which is going to be HTTP token HTTP token service. Let me delete this token service. So these two line of code here, they mean the same thing. So you can, whichever one that works for you, fine, you can go ahead to use it. So I'll be removing this. This one. I prefer to use the T token. So now let's call our just created get CSR file token. Once you call that, don't forget to subscribe to that, so that if not, you won't get it saved in your browser. So now I'll be console logging our response, server response in our browser. So once you've done that, you hit save. Then finally, the last thing we'll be doing is, so because we just created our service, but we have not really tied it to our application. In Angular 17, things work a bit different here. So to do that, you head over to your app component, app.config file, which is this app.config file. And there are a few things we'll be doing here, which is what I'm going to be showing you in a moment. So in your provider list, you will call your provide HTTP client. Now this HTTP client takes in a lot of function. So first function we're calling is with function. The next one we'll be calling is with XSR configuration. Now inside this XSR configuration takes in some arguments, which I'll just copy and paste. As you can see here, it's already listed for us. It takes the cookie name and the header. So to set the cookie name and the header name, I already done that, so I'll just copy and paste it into it. Okay, so that's it. Once you've done this, I think you're all good to go. So next thing, I'll head to my browser to show you how it looks. So once you're on your browser, let's inspect to see if it's saving if we're getting any errors. As you can see, we're not getting any error. And then let's go head over to application. Yeah, so when I hit the refresh, it's returning null. Okay, sorry, I forgot to do something. Don't forget to add this. There's a second parameter which is called with credentials. You have to set with credentials. This will tell your Laravel application that you want to there's a cookie you want to set in our browser. Then one more thing I'll be calling here is I'll be calling the response observable. Observe. What this does, it helps you to see what your browser is returning. So in your response, I'm just going to set it to response so that I'll see what the header that is being returned in our browser. In case if there are errors, you also see the errors when you set it this way. So let me head over to my browser. As you can see, our application have set the token for us, which is coming from our back end, which is Laravel. As you can see, Laravel section and then the token. Now this token is what we'll be using. Now you may be okay, let me show you the what I'm talking about when you use this response here. So let me take it off and save. you see you are getting null here. But once I put it back, you see it's returning the actual value, the response from our servers. You can see the header and other information here. So that's how to configure and get and set the token in our browser. The next thing I'll be showing you now is, you may be wondering, okay, how will I send this token on every request that is being sent to our back end? So to do that, you head over to your console, and I'll be running a new command, which is going to be ng generate interceptor. We're going to be using an interceptor to do this for this purpose. So once you've this is Laravel terminal, this is Angular terminal. So once you type ng generate interceptor, I'll say HTTP token interceptor. Right, you hit enter, and so next thing we're going to do is, since we've installed our interceptor, to use the interceptor, we'll head back to our app.config file. In your app.config file, the first thing you do is, inside your provide HTTP client, you'll be calling another function, which is going to be with interceptor. Once you've done that with interceptor, this function takes an array, just in case you are having more than one interceptors. You may have interceptor that handle errors and depending on your application need. So the name of our interceptor is HttpTokenInterceptor, which I'll just call here. I'll just call it here HTTP token interceptor. Once you've done that, that's all. So now let's head over to our interceptor with our just created interceptor to configure it. So this is my interceptor. Let me close this, and then yes. So in this file, the first thing we'll do is we're going to be creating a variable which this variable is going to extract the interceptor. So this variable will be called token. I'll call it token XAX. Then I'll be injecting it using the inject, which we call HTTP X extractor. This is it right there. So once you've done that, there's another variable we need to create, which will extract our token name from the browser. So I'll just call it CSFR token. Yes, token. Token name. Token name. Once you've done that, okay. Once you've done that, I will just head back to my list and copy it from there. Okay, so finally we'll be extracting the token. We'll be extracting the token itself from our HTTP XSR token extractor. So to do that, we'll just simply I'll be storing it in a variable once it's been extracted. So I'll call it CSF token, which is the token itself, right? So we'll call this token ex.get, a function that gets, once we say .get, we are going to save it as a string, right? Once you've done that, so all this is just to set a variable that holds data. So the block of code that does the proper check is, we're going to create an if statement that check if this token that we just created is empty. if this token is empty, which is we're going to say if null, if equals to null, and as well as we're going to say if the request.headers has this cookie name, this name we're calling here, right? If it's empty, then do this. That's what this block of code is trying to, that's what I'm trying to say in this block of code. If it's empty, you say request is equals to, we're going to clone it, request.clone in a bracket, you say headers. Here we're setting the new header, so you say request again dot headers dot set. So the first parameter will be our CS name. The second parameter will be the token itself we're extracting from the browser, which is this one. Next, you will be doing, you will need to set the referrer as to tell Laravel that, hey, this is who is making the request. Whoever, anyone else that makes this request, do not honor it. That's the way Sanctum works. So to do that, we'll clone the header again. We set the headers, and say request sorry, it's not request dot, we'll say referrer, yeah, and it's not going to be header, it's just going to be referrer. It's going, then this will be request dot headers dot set, right? Let me take a minute to look at this code. Something doesn't seem right. Okay, I think I know what's going on here. Okay, here I need to set the headers. Yes, so that's good. Headers.set, this takes in a parameter. No, it doesn't take a parameter. Sorry for that mix-up. So here in the header, what we're going to do, we're telling the we're supposed to set, once you set the referrer, we'll say request dot headers dot set. Just a moment. No. Let me start all over again. After this dot clone, you will call the referrer, yeah. Then the second parameter will be the endpoint, that is our referrer. So to get the referrer is just going to be this front end application that is being set in our .env file. Once you've done that, okay, we're still getting error, doesn't match the call. I think there's a mistake here, so I'll just call, you're supposed to call the header requests dot headers dot set. Inside the dot set, then we have those configuration. Yes, so this is it. So now what we're saying here is that we're telling Angular that, hey, set the header referrer to this, which is the same as what we have in our .env file, our front end. If you have something that looks like this, if you set your front end URL to localhost port 4200, and then on your browser you call localhost 127.4200, you're going to get cause error because they are not the same, but to you they are the same thing, but to the browser it doesn't see it as the same. So it have to be exactly the same name you set in your front end. So once you've done that, you're all good to go. That's how to set your CFR token from Angular and send the request to your Laravel application. So that's how to configure it. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if this was a benefit to you. And so if you have any question, you don't forget to ask your question in the comment section below. I'll be very happy to assist you. Thank you and have a blessed day.